What do they say? They always say, there's going to be a big surprise at the end, so wait, stay until the end. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment down below.
I'll let you finish first. Wait, why would it be greater than currently?
Because we think there's an advantage to going last.
Where's the second? The first sentence.
Thank you.
Equals.
I was like, I know it's in there somewhere. Sorry. Oh my goodness, they put them everywhere. Now I gotta look in all my drawers. They put a duck in my drawer.
How'd you get the level?
Yeah.
You do that at coffee.
Thanks, Shania.
Yeah? That's it?
Thank you, ma'am. All right, Naomi. No, they put a duck in one of my drawers. So now I'm looking in all my drawers.
Have a look at those baskets.
These ones?
No.
Papers, 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 rulers, papers, papers,
Oh, my coffee list is like
papers.
so it's getting slow.
Nolan, are you done with the deal?
Yeah.
Come on up.
Oh, I'm not gonna.
There's one in there.
I'm like, why would they put one? Why do you not notice that?
I don't get in my drawers that
Yeah, that's pretty
often.
weird, right? They put one there.
What if you're drunk?
What? Oh, I'm recording. My voice, the microphone's over here. They're trying. Our tech guy has put in a request to get me a microphone so I can look really cool while I'm teaching.
serious?
Yeah.
Please don't.
That would be so fun.
Like, will it like echo in here?
No.
Oh,
It'll
for
just
looks?
so I
for
can
looks?
record. No, so I can stand up there and record.
Oh.
Because when I'm up there and I hit record, you can only...
Oh, so it's not for us.
No,
Oh,
it's just
okay.
so I can record my lessons.
Okay.
And then so I can act like a famous pop
Agent or
star.
something?
No, pop star.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes.
like, hello, Philadelphia, hey! Like, pretend that you're performing at Madison Square Garden.
Yes!
Yeah.
Yes! And then I can, you know, do cool dance moves.
You should start a TikTok.
Yeah.
Do you know cool dance moves for your YouTube channel?
Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Woohoo!
Announce it as well.
I also know how to floss pretty well.
Oh my god, Anna's been doing that recently. It's like her new thing. It's so annoying. She'll literally randomly go to the grocery store. It might be TikTok.
Don't make fun of me. I have to start slow so that I get
Find
the.
the rhythm, yeah.
No.
Wait. How did you get
Got you.
according to my calculations, I was on another.
What did you get?
Oh, we already. I got .0167. This one. And I did the exact same thing that I did there.
Yeah, who knows?
For the standard deviation.
I don't know, I copied
Did
their
you
standard
use
deviation.
fractions?
I think I just saw the wrong number maybe.
Oh, okay.
No, you did it wrong.
Alright, I'll take it. That's all.
Now where are we supposed to get
I'm a bit perplexed about this one.
Flex?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter, it's close enough.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Point
Oh no.
098 minus
Oh, no.
0.083
They actually copied.
and then divided by 0.0113
Oh, forgot that.
is over
Did
what?
you get .015? That's
Well, I copied them, that's why I saw you.
Oh no! Sorry, Bob.
Oh, snap. I don't know what I copied, dude. I guess I copied wrong.
Oh, I think you copied directly from the notes.
That's
Not
a
me, I'm
3.
chilling. I don't know what I did. Oh well.
Alright, 327.
Doesn't matter.
How did you get your p-value?
The
0.0113.
test.
You did the test?
Z test.
Just a z-test?
One prob Z test.
One prop z test. Oh, poopers. I hit the wrong one. 1 divided by 12. And then it's 59 out of 600, right? And greater than?
Yeah. You're gonna be a little different, probably. I did 1 divided by 12.
Yeah, see, that's what I had. I had
I did
0.09.
I did .083.
Oh, okay.
Wait,
Gotcha.
that's the... Yes, sir. Wait, we're supposed to do one top Z test for that?
I'm sorry, say that again, Annika.
No.
Okay. All right. I didn't pick anybody to conclude.
So you concluded.
Little.
Yeah,
Wait,
How do you get the p-value? I'm so lost.
one prop Z test.
wait, so that up there is wrong? The .867?
No, he just used.
I divide.
So I typed in when I went to stat test one prop Z test, which is number 5. Nolan typed in 0.083 for P null. When I typed it in, I did 1 divided by 12. When you type in the fraction, the calculator doesn't round the decimal. Nolan typed it in like that, which is rounding the decimal. So you will get a slightly different p-value.
Are both right?
Yeah.
So the z-score is the p-value times the h-number by the number?
The z-score is your p hat minus your p.
Wait, what?
All right.
Go on him now.
P hat.
Is p hat and the p-value the same number?
No. In this case, they look similar.
Wait, I got a different P value. I'm so confused.
Yeah, because you typed in 112,
I'm so
right? Nolan typed in .083.
So should it be 0.015?
If you type in 112
Yeah.
instead of, like Nolan typed in that decimal, if you type in 112
We can all.
and then you go down, oops, I went greater than.
We're back to that number.
You get .091.
It's 0.0.
So you chose the wrong.
All right.
Enter
Any
again.
other questions?
No, I said he had. I meant you chose the wrong.
All right. Conclusion.
You chose less than.
We're not going to write out the full novel. So let's start with, is our p-value greater than or less than alpha?
Greater.
Greater than, which tells us we have strong or weak evidence.
Strong.
Weak.
Weak.
Oh, weak.
Our p-value is greater than or equal to alpha, which tells us we have weak evidence against the null. And if we have weak evidence against the null, are we going to reject or fail to reject?
Reject.
Fail.
Fail to reject. And conclude or not conclude the alternative.
Not conclude.
And cannot conclude HA that there is an advantage to going last. Is that your neck?
Yeah.
That's
You
not
popped it?
normal, Bianca.
No, this is become a class. He pops it every. You know,
I would be a
JD.
chiropractor in like 2
Weird
months.
up. He pops everything.
He
Like
doesn't
neck,
in
back.
first period, thank goodness.
He does
Do
it
you not
before
like
it
popping things? Mikey popped their toes.
I pop my toes.
I
I pop my
I don't pop
fingers.
I
anything.
don't like it.
But my neck, do not pop my neck.
See, I used to be
That
scared I was gonna
seems-
snap my neck.
That seems.
I'm good.
All right. So today we're gonna learn about a two-sided significance test. So far our alternatives have only been greater than or less than. Today we're gonna look at the not equal to and how that changes things. Bless you. So, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, or the CDC, 50% of high school students have never smoked a cigarette.
Who's smoking cigarettes? I feel like it should be higher than that. I feel like it should be lower than that. Who's smoking cigarettes?
Yeah,
Like
That'd be
vaping?
higher.
Yeah,
vape
cigarettes?
pens should, I would think, are higher.
Yeah.
Cigarettes.
I haven't seen a
I
high
don't
schooler
know.
smoking a cigarette in a long time.
I don't
Smoking
know.
cigarettes.
Anywho, so according to the CDC website, 50% of high school students have never smoked a cigarette. McKenna wonders whether this national result holds true in her large urban high school. For her AP Stats class project, McKenna surveys an SRS of 150 students from her school. She gets responses from all 150 students, and 90 say they have never smoked a cigarette. What should McKenna conclude? So, we're going to state, plan, do, conclude. State. Our null is the claim from the CDC website, so P equals 0.5. Our alternative, I already told you, we're going to look at two-sided, so it's not equal to 0.5. That's because it just says she wonders whether it holds true. It doesn't specify that she thinks it's higher or lower. She just is curious if 0.5 holds true at her high school. P is going to be the true proportion of high schoolers who have never smoked a cigarette. Never smoked cigarette. I'm going to abbreviate cigarette. what's our alpha level?
0.05.
0.05, thank you. And then what's our p hat?
95/150.
Thank you, ma'am. 90 divided by 150. 0.6. Any questions on the state?
Wait, don't we have to like actually be like, oh, we're estimating the true blah 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 of blah blah blah?
No, that was last unit.
We don't have to do that this unit? Nope.
It's like you read my mind or something. Down below, we're gonna do that.
See,
See, you could feel it coming. We are going to do that in a minute. All right, plan. What is our calculator function?
Props C test.
1 prop z test. What are our 3 conditions?
random, normal.
Thank you. Random, normal, independent.
You want
How
that?
do I know?
You've earned a level 1 tornado chaser. Congratulations. Go to FA1 to get your shirt. Please and thank you.
Where's my shirt?
You have to earn tornado chaser.
Uh,
Or give me
Do
a
you
B.
know how many soccer games I've gone to? How many
All right,
basketball
give me an A.
games I've
Need
gone
an A.
to?
Okay, you went from B to A. I can't do that.
Need an A.
I need a shirt.
I need an A. Talk business.
I earned the shirt. You didn't earn the A.
Where'd you get a shirt?
Ooh, good one, Miss Little.
Thank you.
It's not even B.
All right.
The shirts are kind of ugly though.
Random.
Spell should be better.
I got one of the
It
shirts that
says
give it
SRS. Normal. What are our conditions for normal for proportions?
N times P is greater than 10, and N times 1 minus P is greater than, or 10.
Thank you, Annika. N times P better be greater than or equal to 10, and N times 1 minus P better be greater than or equal to 10. So, of the 100, I wrote 150 because that's what I was thinking of. Sorry. Greater than or equal to 10. Of the 150 that she surveyed, how many have never smoked? 90. That's a success. Is that greater than 10?
No.
90 is not greater than 10?
I just want to be smart.
Oh, okay. I was a bit concerned for a second. And then the failures, how many have smoked a cigarette?
60 losers.
I agree, 60 losers. Do not smoke cigarettes. They're not good for your lungs.
Have you ever smoked?
Nope. Nope. I'm being completely honest. I've
You've
never
never smoked a
smoked
cigarette? Honestly, good for you, they're gross.
Thank you. Never smoked a cigarette. Sample size needs to be less than or equal to 1/10 of our population for independence. So our sample size was 150. I am recording.
Oh.
It's okay. I don't, like, I've never smoked a cigarette. What's wrong with saying that?
Nothing.
Nothing.
It's just funny, like, what we learned.
I was like,
All right, so is
dive in a
15,
little bit.
excuse me, hey Nolan, is 1,500 less than or equal to our population?
Bless you.
How do you know? What's our population?
The students at high school.
It says
Yeah.
large.
It says large. It says large urban. We have more than 1,500 here at North, and we're not a large high school.
See, how would I know that, though?
How
many students do we have in this? North is
we
a
have
large
about
high school.
6.
Yeah, I feel
No,
like
it's
pretty
not.
big.
Look up how many students go to a single high school in the city of LA. It's like
Okay, well,
Like
that's LA.
5, 6,
It's like,
7.
that's
Large urban. That is LA. Large urban.
So what are we? Small?
yeah, what are we,
Weird?
like, small
What are
podunk if we're not urban?
Yeah, we
What
are
we?
small podunk. Come on. Have you seen the building? I have holes in my ceiling. We are podunk.
I feel like LA probably has some experience.
Well, they probably do.
Phoenix only has like 600 kids, and that's where I went.
So if it says large urban, you can assume it's bigger than whatever it needs to be bigger than.
The
Okay?
biggest school I went to had like 2,500 people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bigger than us by
But
like
is
a
it-
lot.
is it- how, I feel like we got like 2,000 kids.
We've got like 1,500 kids.
That's a lot.
Yeah, I feel like that's still a good amount.
Phoenix is
Like
like
that's a lot
Okay,
of
but-
divided by
But
4.
for high schools, that's small. Even South has more students than us.
Thought, really?
Really?
Yeah,
Is their school smaller?
that makes sense, but they have like a bigger school.
I thought it was smaller.
they have more teachers because the teachers are hired based on the number of students. So.
Oh, that's smart.
But our school layout's bigger. We
Yeah,
got
this school sucks. That's what I'm saying.
what?
Is the school ever gonna get a remodel?
What?
No,
Were you kidding?
I doubt it. Until things are literally, you know, our weight room has like a sinkhole in the middle of it,
What?
and they're not like concerned about that at all.
A single? Like an actual single?
Like the floor is starting to like eventually it's just gonna give way and all the weights are like it's not safe and they just don't
Like the
care.
mats are flat, right?
Sure.
There's like single in the wrestling room that like
Remember
broke
what I
both
did?
angles.
Yeah. All right. We planned. Now we're gonna do. So we have not equal to. This is the new part. So we're still gonna draw our normal curve. We're still going to assume the null is at the center. So 0.5. Our standard deviation is going to come from whatever 0.5 times 0.5 divided by 150 and then square rooted. And of course my pen is literally about to die on me. I want to finish this part. 0.041. Thank you. So that's 54.1, excuse me, I said that wrong, 0.582, and then that'd be 62, so 0.623. Subtract, that'd be 46, so 0.459. And that'd be 0.418. And that'd be 37, so 0.377. Now, I'm going to flip back to the warm-up. It's just for a second. We shaded based on our p-hat. Same idea applies here. So our p-hat is 0.6. So we're going to estimate where 0.6 is. It's got to be somewhere in between here, right? So this is 0.6, our p-hat. And we're going to shade the little tail. Now, it doesn't specify greater than or less than, so we're going to shade the other tail that is the same distance from the mean as well. So our p-hat is 0.6, the mean is 0.5, so I went 0.1 away from the mean. So I'm going to drop down to 0.4, which is in between those two. And I'm going to find that area there. Because it does not specify whether we think that it is greater than or less than. Our alternative just says it's not equal to. So we find the tails that are the same distance away from the mean. Are we good on what to do with two-sided? Bye, Bianca. You need to give your general formula, so that's the test statistic equals your statistic minus your parameter divided by your standard deviation.
That's just the z-score, right?
Yeah,
Why are you doing it all fancy and like this?
because the AP exam requires that.
You don't need to write that.
Yep.
Okay.
So I just teach it to make it a habit. And then you get specific about it. My test statistic is a z-score. My statistic is my p-hat. My parameter is my p. And then my standard deviation is p times 1 minus p divided by n, all under the square root.
I'm just kidding.
Our p-hat is 0.6.
That's minus, not multiply?
Where? In between?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then our p is 0.5. So I have 0.6 minus 0.5. And then we found our standard deviation. It was 0.041. And that'll give us our z-score. And you can do that individually, or you can wait, because when we put it into the one prop z test, that'll tell us our z-score as well. And it will give us our p-value. Everybody okay if I put my calculator in the way?
I guess.
All right. Stat test number 5. Our null is 0.5. We had 90 out of 150 say they've never smoked. This time we're doing a not equal to for the alternative. And then, do you guys want to calculate or draw?
Draw.
I like draw too.
Me too.
Oh man, I picked the broken calculator. Whatever, it works. I chose green, and it's in orange, and I have all these extra shading above, and I don't know what's wrong with this calculator. It's very crazy. But it still shows us the shading of both tails, because it's two-sided, because it's not equal to. It gives us our z-score of 2.4495, and then a p-value of 0.0143.
Oh, no.
That's really close to the same deviation.
It is.
It's like flip-flop.
Oh man, I cleared mine on accident. That was the correct z-score, right?
2.449.
495.
Yep.
And this was 0.014
Why did you go to
3.
5 as, is that 5 or 4? Let's do that.
as 4. I just went with what the calculator said. Alright. And I suppose...
So, for the do part, we have to find the standard deviation, the z-score, and the p-value.
Uh-huh. And draw a picture.
That's a
Same
lot
thing.
less than I thought it was, honestly.
Why do we have a line?
Do you have something in y equals?
No.
Do you have a stat plot on?
I think so.
That's fine then. Turn it on. If you hit second y equals, I think it's number 4.
Oh, okay.
It'll turn all the plots off. Alright, what are we gonna conclude? Oh, come on, you guys know, how did we start it?
Assuming HO
Is,
is 0.5.
What? Oh.
assuming H null is true, that P equals 0.5.
Honestly, I have a question.
Thanks.
I sure should.
What's our probability?
0.5?
No, it's our P value.
What is this?
0.0143
What?
probability.
Oh.
Your P value is your probability of getting, now this is where it changes, because before we just used to say getting a P hat greater than or equal to 0.6 purely by chance. But we have two sides we have to talk about. So getting a P hat greater than or equal to 0.6 or p hat less than or equal to 0.4 purely by chance. I had to include both tails in that statement.
I feel like this is smaller than all the other times we've been.
That's just the first sentence. I'm not done. Do we have strong or weak evidence?
Strong.
Strong. This provides strong evidence against H null. So are we statistically significant or not?
Yes.
Yes. And is stat sig at alpha equals 0.05 level. And that is because, excuse me, our p-value is less than alpha.
That says level.
Yes,
It looks like
I
a
know.
6.
Have you not seen my, what does this say?
6 foot?
No, that I wrote left.
Oh.
Here's 6 foot.
That's literally a 6. That's the
No.
exact same thing.
No. The top one says left, the bottom one says
That's
6
the
feet.
exact same thing.
Nuh-uh.
I feel like the top one says.
Okay, if
Six
that's
of the same
supposed to
as
be an
just to
E,
mess with her.
if that's supposed to be an E, it has to have the tail. That doesn't have the tail. It just
No,
looks like a 6.
I literally, in my head, said, okay, I'm writing the word left. And I wrote the word left.
No, you
And
wrote 6.
in my head, I said, okay, I need to write 6 feet. And I wrote 6 feet.
No, because
Looks right to me.
Thank you.
no. no. That looks like
So-
level.
I feel like given the context, you would know the difference.
I never understood, realized, I guess, not understood. I never realized that it did that until I was teaching a class and the answer was 6 feet left. And I wrote 6 feet left and the kids were like, what?
That's funny though. Like, what are the odds though?
I was like, oh, I guess they do look alike.
Yeah.
All right, so are we going to reject or fail to reject?
Check.
Reject. Therefore, we reject H null. Reject H null and conclude the alternative.
Wait, do I actually have to spell out the alternative, or can we just put HA?
You can put HA. Conclude the alternative that the true proportion of high schoolers who've never smoked, true proportion of high schoolers who never smoked a cigarette is not equal to 0.5. Questions?
Is this an actual CDC statistic?
Uh-huh. It's a little old though. I haven't checked to see if they have a more updated statistic, but yes.
I wonder if it's higher or lower.
That's what we're gonna figure out.
Whoa.
I'm just guessing
You
that.
are you are right on track.
I'm excited.
So our significance test led us to reject H null.
Wait, what about the top one?
The top one?
The line.
To perform this above
Oh,
significance
it was one prop Z test. We already wrote it. I need to get rid of that. Sorry. So our significance test led us to reject H null, that P equals 0.5, but we don't know what the actual true proportion would be. So I've taught you something that helps us estimate a true proportion, a confidence interval.
Oh my god, are we doing that?
Yeah, we are.
Why?
I don't remember what I did.
To figure out whether the true proportion is less than or
Are you
equal
seriously
to.
going to test this on a confidence interval?
Yeah.
Can
We
you
already
try not
did
doing that? Have you tried
Yeah,
not?
but yeah, I'm
Have
going
you
to.
tried submitting my letter of recommendation?
I
Jerry said
already,
she didn't get it.
Oh, yeah, we target it, you know.
I can
have
pull. Yeah, I can pull up the email.
She
of
just
it
couldn't.
being
She couldn't
sent.
find it at least. Can you just send it again, or can you send it to me so I can like print it out or something?
Guys, they're
'Cause I just-
so difficult.
Me? I
Yes.
asked Jerry about it, and she was trying to find it. And she was like, I don't know if I got it, but I can't find it right now at least.
To Childress.
Will you put me in the email too?
Here's Emma Jordan's letter of recommendation. That's literally what it says.
Well, she couldn't find it. Okay, it was too hard. Be nice. She helped me so much. You know, I filled out 2 scholarships just now.
Emma.
Two.
Dot what?
Emma, my school Gmail, right? Emma.k.jordan at msd549c.org. I was about to give you my chartered email. Almost.
All right.
Thanks. I'm going again. Thank you.
We're gonna make a competence interval. So we're gonna construct and interpret a 95% confidence interval for the true proportion of high school students who have never smoked a cigarette.
Yeah.
You guys are gonna love me so much
So
when I
happy.
remind you what do the words construct and interpret mean?
Girl, what am I
Writing
talking about?
words.
Writing words.
The state plan do
State plan do conclude.
Oh.
What, well, like, what's the point of testing us on this, though?
Because
You don't have a reason.
no, my reason is because two-sided significance tests are often followed by a confidence interval.
Okay, but we already know how to do the confidence interval.
Okay, but it's gonna be on the AP exam, so I gotta teach it to you.
Are we
Yeah.
going to review before the AP exam?
Yes.
Okay, good.
All right, so state. What do we say in the state part for a confidence interval?
We expect to find the true.
We want to estimate.
Yeah, that's the word. The true proportion of students who actually smoke, high school students who smoke cigarettes.
I'm not gonna rewrite that, I'm too lazy.
Oh.
It's right there. We want to estimate the
Oh.
true proportion of high school students who have never smoked cigarettes at 95% confidence.
Oh, okay.
Plan.
C score and plan or random normal and
Random, normal, independent. Hey, didn't we already do
Z
that?
Z interval, not Z score. Z interval, right?
Didn't we already do random,
Yes.
normal, independent? So I'm going to say C above, because it is above. And I ain't going to do all that again.
I love that you're just as lazy as me.
There is literally no point to
Teachers
writing
always
it
make
the
you
same
like do
again.
extra. That's like,
Ow. And what was the calculator function?
One problem.
C.
Oh,
One prop,
no. Is that one?
Z
I thought we just did
S?
Z interval.
interval. No, you need the one prop in front of it. A just Z interval in the calculator assumes that you know the population standard deviation, and we don't. Do. Anybody happen to remember the formula for a confidence interval for a proportion?
The proportion plus minus the ME. I don't remember.
So our statistic, which is p hat, plus or minus the margin of error. Anybody remember the margin of error part?
No.
Z star times what? The standard deviation, yeah. Which we use p hat for.
How do you get C star again?
Inverse normal
Inverse norm. All right, so our p hat we know is 0.6 from above. Our z star, we can use inverse norm, or I told you it might be helpful just to memorize the 95% z star. Anybody remember that one?
1.96.
1.96. And then our standard deviation, excuse me, is going to be a little different because we have to use 0.6 instead of 0.5. Oops. 0.6 times 0.4 divided by 150 and then square rooted. Oh, it's really not that different. It's 0.04 instead of 0.041.
So that means our answer's not going to be far off, right?
No.
All the information is pretty close.
Yep. So now we're going to do the one prop z in it. So I'm going to put my calculator in the way. Stat, go over to tests. For this one, you have to scroll way down. Oops, I went too far. A. X is 90, N is 150, and then make sure your C level is 0.95, not 0.5.
I already have that information in my calculator.
0.975.
No, that's for inverse norm. For the confidence interval, the calculator is written to know that it's not including a tail. All right, so we get 0.5216 up to 0.6784.
Okay, but
Well, now we got to conclude.
I felt like, yeah, that should have been.
Well, the conclusion is different.
what do you mean?
Well, up here we had all that stuff. And down here, how do we conclude a confidence interval?
We're just the interval.
We can conclude with 95% confidence that the
Yeah.
interval contains the true proportion of high school students who have not smoked cigarettes.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. She is not right. I forgot the confidence part. And also, you literally told us to interpret a confidence interval, we're 95% confident, and then on the test, it was that was not an option. The confidence part was not an option.
Are you sure it was the confidence interval and not the level then?
I don't know.
Well, there is a difference in how you interpret an interval and a level, but they sound similar.
Oh, well, maybe I know if you saw that. That's actually very helpful.
So, based on that, do we think that the proportion is higher than 0.5 or less than 0.5? Higher. Any questions before I flip my paper over?
Why is it
We
higher?
have 10 minutes left in class.
I know, thank you.
Wait, why is that higher? Because the numbers are.
Yeah, because this is above 0.5.
Oh, okay. Oh. Gotcha.
May I flip now?
Yeah.
All right, so how are confidence intervals and two-sided significance tests related? If the confidence interval does not capture the parameter value from H null, then we would say that the H null value is not plausible. And if H null is not plausible, we have strong evidence against H null. And that would lead us to reject H null. So, I could give you a confidence interval like this and say, hey, we think the null hypothesis is 0.5. based on this confidence interval, should we reject H null or fail to reject H null? Reject, because our null is not in the interval. If your confidence interval captures the parameter from H null, then we would say that value is plausible and that we have weak evidence against H null, bless you, and therefore we should fail to reject H null.
This actually makes sense.
Does it go the same way if it's under H null? Like, for this one, it's like lower.
Yes. Yeah. If 0.5 in this example is not in it, whether our interval is above 0.5 or below, it would tell us that 0.5 really isn't a plausible parameter, and so we should reject it. All right. So down below, Mr. Bellsberg believes the true proportion of the population that says they hate math is 28%. To find out if this belief is true, he selects an SRS of 500 people, and 122 of them say they hate math.
Did this actually happen?
No. I mean, he thinks people hate math, but the numbers I made up to get my point across.
Yeah, I feel like that should be higher.
All right. So anyways, you're just going to find the confidence interval. 95% confidence interval. Write it down. Just calculator, no state, no plan, no conclude. Just get the interval for me.
Okay.
Wait, is one prop Z interval?
Yeah.
How do you do that?
Just like we did before. One prop Z int.
No, to predict the p-value.
Oh, we're gonna talk. We're gonna talk about. What did you get for the confidence interval, Lindsay?
0.20635 and 0.28165.
And the end is 500.
Interesting.
All right.
Okay.
So that was a 95% confidence interval. So if we're working with a 95% confidence interval, what do you think your alpha level is going to be?
0.05?
0.05, the other missing part, right?
Wait, what?
95,
How does that make sense?
95 and 5.05 is 5%, and 5% and 95% make up that 100%.
Oh, okay,
Okay. All right. So, our H null in theory is that P equals 0.28, right?
Yes.
That's what my husband thinks. Did we capture 0.28?
C?
Yes.
Yeah. Is it in the middle?
It's on the very end.
Yeah, it's really just barely in there, right?
But it's in there.
But it is there. So, do you think that 0.28 is plausible?
No.
From the statements above, you should think that the null, P equals 0.28, is plausible, and we would have weak evidence, and we should fail to reject. Now, if we have weak evidence and we fail to reject H null, is that because our p-value is greater than or equal to alpha or less than alpha? Greater than. So that statement tells us we should have a p-value greater than or equal to alpha. The one where we reject H null would tell us that we have a p-value that's less than alpha. So, 0.28, not less than or equal to. If our p-value is 0.05, we're going to fail to reject the null. It's got to be less than 0.05. So 0.28 is barely in there, but it's in there. So we think it's probably plausible, and we're going to fail to reject H null. So we should have a p-value that's greater than or equal to alpha. So anybody want to make a prediction about our p-value? 0.06. It's barely above 0.05,
Oh, okay.
but it's above our alpha levels, so we would reject the null.
Is that actually the p-value?
We're going to find out. Think. I know how to spell think. I wrote thing. Sorry. So down below, you're going to do a one prop z test and find your test statistic, your z-score, and the actual p-value. No state, no plan, just do the calculator stuff and find out your z-score and the actual p-value for me, please. Come on, Nolan.
What would
What function is
our H,
One prop z test. H null is 0.28,
our alternative would be like what?
not equal to.
Wait, would that be the Z or the Z star?
Z, when you do the
What's the difference?
between what?
Z and D star.
I mean, nothing really.
That's what I want.
Z star is your critical value. So you're assuming the mean is 0 and the standard deviation is 1. Z scores, the mean and the standard deviation change. But you're right, they're the same thing.
Wait, test statistic.
What did you guys get for Z?
-1.792.
Yeah. Then alpha.
And what did you get for your p-value?
Wait, 0.072 or 0.073.
0.073. Hey, you did a pretty good job predicting.
I got, wait, what did I do
Yeah,
wrong?
you're
Did you pick not equal to?
No. Was I supposed to?
Yes, because we only do confidence intervals with two-sided significance tests. If it's a one-sided where our alternative is less than or greater than, we already know.
Two-sided. Oh, okay.
Two-sided, so not equal
Okay.
to, is when confidence intervals come into play.
Honestly, I'm learning a lot more when there's no one here.
So if it wasn't a confidence interval, we would use the less than or equal or greater than. But since there is a confidence interval, not
Yes. Yes.
I am tracking.
so good.
Only know some.